Hello and welcome to our local to global series here as we play as the Random Wrestling Review. That's review with a UE rather than an IEW. And we are now in mid 1999 with our save. So well into this game, and we have got RWR Stampede imminently to bring you today. Before I do that, though, I am going to reach out and have a look at the market because I want something very, very specific. I want a manager for the first time in our game world. First time in this save. I have not previously wanted or needed a manager, but I have a need for one now. So I think microphone is probably the most important element that we want from this person. I'm quite interested in bringing in someone that isn't particularly well known. So Al Getz is the kind of thing I might be quite good. We could bring in Dave Prazak. Could bring in Francine, Jasmine Sinclair, Jeff Bailey. Was he like, I don't know who he was. I think he was. I feel like he was somebody that well, it doesn't say who he is. Maybe I'm wrong in what I thought he was, but I can't even remember the name of the person who I thought it was anyway, so it's not a big deal. Lolly Dude. Never heard of Lolly Dude. Michael Hayes, Paul Heyman, obviously Prince Nana. There's a possibility, I suppose. Rick Rude, big name. I bet he's very expensive. 700 per show is probably too much. Ron Killings could be a manager. Stacy Carter, I mean, maybe. And Tori Wilson and Woman. I'm tempted by Al Getz, I don't know why. How old is he? 29 years old. I'd like him to be a little bit. I like the fact that this guy isn't, like, I don't know him. And that's really the only thing that appeals. I could bring in somebody I know and make a big deal of it. Like Stacey Carter would be quite good. Tori Wilson would be quite good. But I don't know. I just feel like bringing in someone I've never heard of feels like a more realistic situation for us to be in. And he's very cheap. So I'm going to bring this guy in. His microphone skills 43 to 88, so he might be bad. That's the thing. Hang on, let's see. So whereas Dave Prazak is definitely a higher range. So is Francine. In fact, Francine's range is more definite. Like she's at least a 72, which would be actually really good. This is changing my mind a little bit here. I mean, Jim Cornette is way too expensive, really, for a manager for us. What about Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster? Way too expensive. So yeah, here you go, Lolly Dude, microphone 39 to 84, so he could be anywhere in between that. And if he's at the lower range of that, it's no good to me, really. Michael Hayes is 900 per show. It's not. I mean, Paul Heyman's only $220 per show. I mean, you got to remember as well, of course, that this is at the point where, um, this is at the point where the game started in 1995, right? So it wasn't ECW hadn't built up its reputation to the extent that it did eventually by the time the game started. But he is the owner and booker of ECW. Prince Nana, again, decent, better microphone skills generally than Al gets. He might be a better idea. Stacey Carter, 52 to 82. Tori Wilson, 52 to 82. Woman, 74 to 82. He's someone I feel like I could use. I think I'm going to go with Woman. She's currently unemployed. She's relatively cheap. She's got a high floor in terms of what her microphone skills are. She's got a good reputation as well. Has she got any personal issues? Doesn't seem to be that way. Oh, look at this. Woman and Kevin Sullivan divorced after the former was caught cheating with El Bronco One. Who's El Bronco One? Don't know because they haven't got a way for me to go to it. I'm tempted to bring in Woman. Um, yeah, I'm gonna bring in Woman. She's the one. She's the manager. Now I haven't revealed what I'm gonna do with Woman yet, and I won't obviously won't be able to get her in time for the next show. because it's happening tonight. So I won't reveal that just yet. There's a chance that we get to that show today. I mean, I doubt it. We've been running at a decent pace, really, of one event per episode of this series most recently. So I expect that that will remain. But who knows? Maybe something else will come of that, and we'll be able to run another event on this episode today. So RWR Stampede, we already know what our main event's going to be because it was set in the last event. It's the tag team titles on the line. The Samoan Violence Connection will take on Charlie Haas and CW Anderson. But it's the rest of the card that you won't necessarily be aware of. And we're going to go through that now, beginning with a match between Buddy Wayne and Rose of Bad Crew. Now, I don't think these two have ever had a singles match before. They haven't. So it's a new match, which I'm happy to be putting out there. Buddy's going to win. They're going to work the crowd. Open match. Pinfall. I don't think it needs to be anything other than that. So Buddy Wayne gets a victory. The reason for that, I'll show you the rankings right now. Buddy Wayne is currently 5th in the rankings. Obviously, the Shadow is champion. Buddy Wayne's got 6 points at the moment. And that is the same as Charlie Haas and ECMO, and one behind CW Anderson. I want Buddy Wayne effectively, I'm not going to hide it, I want him to be the number one contender as we go into RWR 50, which is our next show, which is our 50th event in game. And so I just feel like Buddy Wayne's our original. He's been here since the start. And I just feel like it's fitting for him to have the title shot when we get to RWR 50, but he has to have either the joint most or most points when it gets to that point. So Buddy Wayne needs a victory here in order to have any chance of doing that. So that's what we're going to have here. Buddy Wayne beating Rose in the opener. After that, we're going to do CM Punk versus Shawn Stasiak in the rematch between these two. So they had a match on the last show, you will recall, probably. And yes, it is there where CM Punk got the victory when he pulled Shawn Stasiak's tights. And after the match, Stasiak ranted about how the match was unfair and demanded to face Punk again this month. They're going to do that here. We're going to once again do the storytelling thing because it worked well in the last match. The winner is again going to be CM Punk. This time he's going to get it by flash pinfall finish. And that's how this match is going to go. Now, after the match, so this is not the end of this segment, Shawn Stasiak is, I think we'll have acting as the main thing here. Who's our referee? I can't remember his name because we don't use him. We don't have to actively use him. We don't have to put him in kind of segments or anything. He just automatically gets added to matches. David Hogg. He's going to, I think we'll just have not rated, but he's on the screen. Stasiak blames the ref for a fast count and threatened him with physical violence. Doesn't actually attack the referee, but Stasiak is clearly angry with the referee and has a go at him and sort of is shouting, that was a fast count. How could you possibly think that was 3? All this kind of stuff. And that's what's going to happen after the match. So this is, again, part of Stasiak's overall eventual heel turn that we're building him towards. Now, the other member of Bad Crew is going to have a match against Billy Kidman. And I don't want to make this a particularly long match, but I want to give Billy Kidman another win. And this is still all part of our kind of gradually phasing out the Bad Crew who, I've gone beyond their worth now. I mean, they've been with me for 2 years and they've never been a particularly good team, but they've won Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. They've won our Northwest Tag Team titles. They have got they've had a much better run in this company than I ever intended, or at least I had intended for at least the last year. So, they should be pretty happy with what they've already got out of this run, given at times what I thought was going to happen. We're going to have a 3 versus 3 match in the semi-main position. It's going to see the Shadow, Ace Steel, and Barry Buchanan up against Dave Batista, Keith and Bruce Hart. And this one's going to go for, let's go 14 minutes with this one. And open match. I think who do we want to win this? So we don't want the baby. Do we want the baby faces to win this or not? I'm thinking it doesn't matter now because Keith Hart's had his title shot. I think we're going to have Dave Bautista win it, and he's going to have him pin Barry Buchanan by pinfall. There we go. That's okay. Yeah, Bruce Hart might struggle with this one, but I think that's fine. We'll just accept it for now. Now after the match, Dave Bautista is going to get on the microphone and going to ask the Shadow yet again. Batista asks the Shadow why he doesn't want anybody to see his face. The Shadow leaves without comment. Shadow leaves. Fine. Let's make it 5 minutes, this one. So this is the ongoing story where Dave Bautista is kind of suspicious about the Shadow and wants to know what's going on. And in this case, he's kind of going to ask him about the, in this case, he's going to kind of ask about the reason why the Shadow doesn't want anyone to see his face, why he's got a mask, and the Shadow's just going to walk away. And then the main event is going to be for the tag team titles. And it's going to see the Samoan Violence Connection, Chemo and ECMO take on Charlie Haas and CW Anderson. Red Alert. It's going to be the longest match of the night. I think we'll make it a slow build. That's a good idea. And an open match. A good match, which is going to be won by Chemo. He's going to pin Charlie Haas. But I think a match where, in fact, let's make it 17 minutes. Let's go crazy. It's just going to be a match where basically Red Alert established themselves as a really seriously good tag team, albeit they don't win the match or the title. So kind of like a way to put Red Alert over without having them win the belts or the match. And I think that's everything I want to do with this show. So we got the CM Punk and Shawn Stasiak stuff. We've got Buddy Wayne winning the match that puts him on to 7 wins. Red Alert lose, which means CW Anderson stays on 7 wins. And Samoan Violence Connection keep the tag team titles. Batista asks the Shadow about what's going on with him. Is there any other storylines that I am missing for this one? So we have got that continuing because that's part of the 6-man tag match. That's obviously continuing because of the main event. That's continuing because of the Shadow and Dave Bautista, and that's continuing. Yeah, we're all good with all of that stuff. And I don't think there's any scope for any additional stories to come out of this particular event. And of course, all of this one and RWR 50 are leading towards this year's Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I've just been playing around with some ideas about who the tag teams are going to be for that event. So yeah, looking forward to that. So anyway, here we go then. Let's go into RWR Stampede. And we have 85 people in attendance for this one. And the opener sees Buddy Wayne defeat Rose in 8 minutes and 13 seconds by pinfall. So Buddy Wayne gets the victory that he needs to effectively become the joint #1 contender. And that will allow us to book him in the main event of the next show against the Shadow for the title. Buddy Wayne got an in-ring performance here of 34, Rose a 21, a 7 rating of 33. It's pretty damn good. Then we have CM Punk versus Shawn Stasiak in another really good match between these two, a segment rating of 35. Stasiak had an in-ring performance of 35, Punk of 32. Punk gets his second victory in a row against Stasiak, this time in 12:57 by pinfall with a fast roll-up. And the extent to which that roll-up is fast is up for debate, because after the match, Shawn Stasiak grabs the referee by his lapel and shouts at him that that was the stupidest call he's ever seen. He says that the referee made a fast count. He can't believe that he didn't realize that was a fast count. There was never three. He shouldn't have lost the match, and he threatens him with physical violence, but then eventually pulls back when he kind of realizes that he is, he's going a bit crazy. A segment rating of 43, so this was really well performed by Stasiak here. He did a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd. So Stasiak, I cannot argue with Stasiak's quality since he's been with this company, and I think this has been a really strong indication of how well he's performed. He's just continuously done this kind of level, and he's actually increasing with this. Next up, Billy Kidman fought Dog in another match. This one went only 6 minutes 43 seconds, and Kidman won by pinfall with a shooting star press. The lowest rating I suspect we'll get of the night, a segment rating of 24. Billy Kidman was a 23, Dog a 21. Kidman's in-ring performances are actually increasing, but very, very gradually, whilst Dog's have reverted to the 21-20 level that he's mainly put out since we've had him. Ironically, his best performances were just a few months back when he was getting 24s and 25s regularly, but that still wasn't good enough for somebody who's been with the company for 2 years and has had so many victories that should have established them in the eyes of the audience. Kidman wins here. Then we move on to the six-man tag match, which sees Dave Bautista and the Hart Brothers take on the Shadow, Ace Steel, and Barry Buchanan, won by the babyfaces in 14:29 when Batista pins Buchanan. You can see a segment rating of 39, so a really successful match here, and that is down largely to the Shadow, who got an in-ring performance of 42. Again, he has been, and I say it every time, excellent, really, really excellent in the ring in this run with him under the mask. For those who haven't perhaps watched before, the Shadow is James Storm under a mask, and James Storm was banished from the company about a year ago, actually, when he lost a Loser Leaves Random Wrestling Review match to Kid Chaos at that time. And then Shadow returned a couple of months later under a mask to the knowledge of nobody. So the audience are still of the opinion that this is just a different wrestler. Barry Buchanan had an in-ring performance of 32, Ace Steel of 35, Bruce Hart 22, Keith Hart 24, Batista 34. Batista also seemed off his game, and Bruce Hart was visibly tiring towards the end, which is not a surprise given the warning we received from Pat Patterson, our road agent, before the match began. And then finally, the main event, which is, oh no, it's not the main event. Apologies, because obviously we get Dave Bautista after the match grabbing the microphone as the Shadow is leaving the ring area. Batista calls to him and says he just wants to ask him one question at this time. Why is it that he doesn't want anybody to see his face? The Shadow briefly pauses and then turns and leaves without answering the question at all. Segment rating here of 34. Batista apparently poor when trying to improvise dialogue, but still a decent rating for this one. And that's ahead of the main event, which was for the tag team titles. It had great heat and decent wrestling. The Samoan Violence Connection defeated Red Alert in 16:55 when Chemo pinned Charlie Haas with a Samoan drop. The Samoan Violence Connection make the first defense of the RWR Northwest Tag Team titles. Chemo carried the match, a in-ring performance of 47. Ekbo had a 28. Charlie Haas a 27. CW Anderson, unfortunately, just a 22. This advanced the story of the Red Alert kind of tag team, and the segment rating of 35 in the main event is very, very decent as well. So I'm happy with what we've achieved here, albeit, again, we've got this note, which is the match was a little too long given our audience. Our audience basically won't accept anything over 15 minutes, which is why I wasn't sure I was going to do that before the show. But I decided, look, we should be able to sustain a 17-minute match, and I think we, on the whole, did. But that is the end of RWR Stampede, an overall rating of 36. A pretty decent show, perhaps not our absolute best, but still very good. Some good matches, not least the six-man tag match that took place, but also Buddy Wayne versus Rose, CM Punk versus Shawn Stasiak, and the tag team title match was all over 30 rated match. And of course, the show increased our popularity in one region. So in terms of who gets the praise, the Shadow, Sean Stasiak, and I think we have to go with Chemo, who was obviously the best wrestler in the main event. So RWR Stampede goes into the books. We've got another match in the second half of July that we're going to be running soon. Just quickly looking through the news to see if there's anything significant. It doesn't feel like there is anything significant. So we're going to move on. We're still awaiting, obviously, a woman to make her decision. So let's advance to the next player-controlled show. I just want to absolutely check that I have put that in. Indeed, it is in the calendar, but let me just check that that's on a date that we are happy with. Monday, week 4, we are indeed happy. Let's move on to the next player-controlled show. And we might yet get the chance to at least book this show, if not bring you the event itself in terms of deliver the matches, because we've got some time here, a bit of time whilst the game progresses on to the next event. Please give us a like, give us a subscribe if you've been enjoying this series. You'll notice I've still got a cough, still got a problem with my throat. Partially, it's not quite as big a problem as you might imagine. It's just that I have been doing a lot of episodes in advance of when this comes out. So I'm kind of stockpiling them all. So there's woman. She is coming in. I might change her name, but I don't know what to. But she is in. And now is the time to reveal what I'm going to do with her. Woman is going to become the manager of the Shadow. This might be a mistake. Uh, this might be a mistake in some ways, because how do you actually assign a manager? I haven't done this. I haven't done this for a very long time. Is it somewhere here? Yeah, yes, it is. So, woman is going to be the manager. Now, this might be a mistake because we don't know if they've got any kind of chemistry as a duo, as manager and client. But I ultimately wanted somebody to come in and be Shadow's mouthpiece whilst he can't speak. And the reason he can't speak, obviously, is he's trying to hide his identity. He doesn't want people to know that he's James Storm and shouldn't even be wrestling in the company. So woman's going to come in as his spokesperson, and she's going to talk about how she has been the manager of the Shadow behind the scenes for the last year, and now, seeing as people are demanding he starts talking, she has taken the decision to publicly manage him as well, and therefore be able to speak on his behalf and tell everybody that whatever and we'll come up with, what I want to do is come up with some excuse for why the Shadow doesn't want people to see his face. That's obviously not true, but the woman will convey to the audience and to the rest of the roster. And so that's my thinking behind bringing in woman. It's also a different kind of dynamic. We haven't had managers or indeed females in the company from the very beginning. So to bring somebody in at this point just is a different dynamic, a different thing, a different feel, and something that I think is worth taking a look at and worth seeing how it works out. So yeah, woman's coming in to be the manager of the Shadow, and we're just waiting now for the chance to get to RWR 50, our 50th show, which is pretty cool. That's not bad at all, is it? 50 shows into this save. We continue to grow. We continue to see success. We have a roster, I think, that's nicely built up of different types of wrestlers. Some wrestlers who obviously are big stars in the future. Some that have really never really been massive stars. Some that were kind of known but not really that well known, and others that were are well past their best by this point. So I think it's cool. You see here, Chris Jericho is wowing fans in his persona of Corazon de Leon or something like that. Some kind of new move or something that everyone got excited about at Domingo Arena, Mexico, where he took part in something. I can't find him. He was on there apparently somewhere. But anyway, that's not important. So yeah, we've arrived at the next show. I did think of one other thing that I wanted to do. Let's first of all just check our size, see if we've not grown. We have gone up to 12 now in the Northwest. We're getting closer and closer to our goal of 17. That's what I wanted to do. I also wanted to make sure that this was updated to the 4th anniversary show, because we're actually not far away now from this event. And so I didn't want to forget about that ahead of that coming up. That's cool. So yeah, it's tonight. It's our next show. It is tonight, and we go to it, and we'll book it now. We probably won't bring it to you, but we'll book it, or we'll book what we can of it, and then bring you the actual show in the next episode. So I think the first thing we're going to do is got 2 tag matches on this one. Okay, so we're going to have the opener be a 6-man tag match. It's Charlie Haas and CW Anderson alongside Billy Kidman. And they're going up against Chemo, ECMO, and CM Punk. That's the opening contest here. And once again, well, actually, it doesn't matter who wins this really, but I think it would be a bit strange. I think this one has to be won by the heels. I'm going to give CM Punk the win over Billy Kidman. I think that's a relatively non-controversial decision. We'll work the crowd in this one. It's reasonably long as well, 11 minutes for this one. But yeah, that's just to get an extra match on the show. And I guess kind of continue Charlie Haas and CW Anderson's journey. They just had a close match against the Samoan Violence Connection at the previous show, of course. Then we're going to have a match between Barry Buchanan and Bruce Hart. So the Harts are, of course, in a story with Ace Steel and Barry Buchanan. I think at this point we will remove Keith from that story and add him to this one. This is where he really belongs. And I think for this one, we're going to have Barry Buchanan win in 9 minutes by pinfall. Victory for Barry Buchanan. Bruce Hart again advised not to do this because of his stamina, but well, I could bring it down to 8 minutes, but it's not going to make the difference, is it? Yeah, we'll continue despite the warnings. I'm not really worried. That's not going to be a match that messes up the whole show, so I guess I'm okay with that. And actually, I'm going to move that to the opener. So this is going to mess everything up. So this has got to be regular. And this is going to be work the crowd then. Ah, press the wrong button. They're going to work the crowd. Barry Buchanan's going to get the win. Then we're going to have a match between Heath Hart and Ace Steel. I see this as more the feud, or more the bigger match of this feud anyway. And this one's going to go 10 minutes, but it's going to go to a draw and a sports entertainment finish when there's going to be interference from both Barry Buchanan and Bruce Hart. So basically, it's just going to end up in a big schmoz, this one. And then after the match, we'll have the 2 teams continue to brawl. A very bog standard type of angle, one that I've definitely done a number of times in the past. But I think the reason I'm doing it here, my thinking process, is that we are one show away. The next 2 shows will be the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. So we're kind of trying to hype up the excitement over that tag team tournament. And Steele and Buchanan continue to brawl. That's after that match. Then we have another tag team contest, and this one will pit Sean Stasiak and Dave Batista against Dog and Rose of the Bad Crew. And this is to show that Stasiak and Batista will be teaming together at the Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza. Now, I think, and I'll have a look in a minute, but I think, hang on, I'll look now. I think these two teamed together in last year's Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza, although they couldn't have done because they were on separate sides of the aisle, weren't they? So who was Batista? Batista was, that's right. Buddy Wayne was with Sean Stasiak last year. Yeah, yeah, that's right. And then Batista, I'm sure Batista and Stasiak did team together somewhere along the line. I felt like I've got that in my mind, but maybe they didn't. But they're going to be teaming anyway together for this year's Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza, and that's what this is about. It's another preview, I guess, of the next event. And in this one, we're going to do here. Yeah, I didn't know if I don't know if I really want Stasiak to turn on Batista, but it's not going to happen here anyway. We are planning to have Stasiak turn heel in the future, but I don't think it's going to happen here. It's not going to happen here, I should say. So, I think, you know what? No, this is a terrible time. I think I'm going to leave the episode there. I think we've gone our 30 minutes, which is what I try and do for each episode. I've got a decision to make, and I'd like to have a little think about it. So, yeah, that's where we're going to leave it for this episode. I know I've said awkward place, but that's just my prerogative for this episode. Thank you for watching. Hope you watch next time. Until then, thank you very much.